One morning, you wake up and realize that nobody expects anything from you anymore. No work shifts, no reports, no rush, just calm. But there's one question echoing in your mind. What am I going to do now? This is exactly where real life begins. Because some doors don't close just to shut you out. They close to lead you to the real door. 60 years old. It's not the end. It's the age when you start searching for the answer to the most important question. Who am I? And what do I want to do with the rest of my life? Turning 60. Most people see it as some kind of ending. Retirement papers, medical checkups, quieter days. But the real silence is when you finally start to hear your own inner voice. Time used to move fast. Everything was rushed. You had to finish work, pay the bills, raise the kids. One day you look back and years have gone by, and you realize you've been living for others all along. This age, it's the edge of that realization. No one is pushing you to be anywhere anymore. So for the first time you ask, okay, so what now? The answer to that question is inside you. Everything you've learned until now, every pain, every joy, they're all actually investments. Now it's time to make use of those investments, to come back to yourself. You'll run less, but you'll notice more. You'll talk less, but you'll understand more. And maybe, for the first time, you'll live for yourself. Turning 60 doesn't mean you've lost your youth. On the contrary, it means you've gained something you didn't have when you were young. Awareness. With this awareness, you can now write your own story. Not the life others chose for you, but the one you choose for yourself. Maybe there's regret in it, but now it's possible to make peace with it. Because true peace isn't in fixing the past. It's in accepting it and building today. Life looks like a long road when you look back. And when you turn 60, the stones along that road become much clearer. Regrets, wrong turns, all the what ifs. Sometimes it's a single sentence. Sometimes just a moment of silence. Years later, it can still echo in your heart. But here's exactly where the difference of your second life begins. Are you going to keep walking on that rocky path, or will you start seeing the things that tripped you up as lessons? You can't forget the past, and honestly, you shouldn't. But carrying it on your back all the time, that just wears you out. Living with the lessons of the past, not its weight, that's where the real difference is. Every mistake was actually a sign. We lie, merigd mast, we lie, maybe ahi, mesting quide, maybe il merigd mest, maybe lie be a lie. Maybe a lie is too arised, made you think, changed your direction. Maybe a lie faith, we a lie. But maybe you didn't understand that at the time, and that's only human. Now, you're 60, and for the first time, you can look at your past from above, with a bit more wisdom. The only gift you get at this age isn't your pension. The real gift is the ability to understand your past. Some people hurt you, some left you behind. But each one taught you something. That's why forgiveness isn't a favor. It's a kind of freedom. Not for someone else, but a freedom you give yourself. See your own mistakes, too. Don't try to hide them. In fact, embrace them. The moment you can say, yes, that was me too, that's when you start to feel true strength. Because after this age, the biggest change comes from here. Instead of getting angry at yourself, you start embracing yourself. Remember, the past does define you, yes. But what truly defines you isn't what you did, it's what you learned. What were you taught for years? A real man is strong. He doesn't cry. He doesn't show his feelings. And the worst one, he doesn't ask for help. Society always described masculinity as a kind of armor. But no one ever said how heavy that armor is, how quietly it eats away at the person inside. Now it's time to take off that armor, because at 60, still trying to look strong just makes you feel lonelier inside. Real strength isn't about hiding your feelings. It's about understanding and accepting them. Times have changed. What the world expects from men now is different. Understanding, compassion, awareness. And at this age, you're in the perfect position to define what that means. Think about it. What's the biggest legacy you'll leave your grandchild? An old watch? A little money? Or the example of being a man who's honest with himself? Suppressing your emotions doesn't make you a man, but recognizing them, that makes you human. And still being able to grow as a human at this age, that's something to be truly proud of. Maybe you've always stayed silent until now. You shrugged your shoulders instead of opening up. But now, it's time to leave a mark not with your silences, but with your words. I've been hurt too. I've loved, lost, missed people. Isn't a man who can say these things strong? Vulnerability isn't a weakness. On the contrary, it's a sign of maturity and true character. The older a tree is, the deeper its roots go. And you've already put down your roots. Now you can show your trunk. Don't be ashamed. From this age on, define masculinity for yourself. Not the definition that puts you in a box, but the one that sets you free. Because real masculinity is about speaking without fear, showing love, and listening to your own heart. How many times have you told yourself, I can't learn anything new anymore? It might seem like a small thing, but honestly, this is the thought that ages a person the fastest. Because the mind rusts when you don't use it, and the spirit starts to fade when it stops being curious. You're 60, and you can still learn to play an instrument. You can speak a new language or discover a technology you never knew before. But most importantly, you can open a brand new window for yourself. You don't need a university degree to keep your mind active. Sometimes it's a bird you hear while sipping your morning coffee. Sometimes it's a few words exchanged with a stranger in the park. Even those little things keep you fresh. Learning isn't just about books. Life itself is the best teacher for anyone willing to learn. And now, you're at the perfect age to understand what it really means to be a student. Learning something new in a day. 100 tones see wish show. It doesn't just feed your brain, it also feeds your self-respect. AC do, because a mind that's open to learning is still growing. And a person who's still growing is never really old. Remember, curiosity isn't something that depends on age. It's a kind of life energy. If you still have a why inside you, then you're still alive. Don't be afraid to try new things. Maybe you won't succeed, but maybe you'll discover a side of yourself you never knew. And at this age, getting to know yourself. That could be the greatest adventure. Learning isn't just about knowing. It's about being amazed. And the moment a person stops being amazed, that's when they truly get old. You can still be amazed by life, by a book, by a movie, by someone's idea, as long as you stay open to learning. Because the more alive your mind is, the younger your spirit will be. Physical health. You spent years working on it. Regular checkups, eating right, going for walks. But what about your mind? That inner voice, quietly waiting in the background, often neglected. But really, it's what keeps you standing. Mental health is usually invisible, but it carries the deepest wounds. And as you get older, some feelings creep in more quietly. Loneliness, feeling unnecessary, or the sense that the life you once had is slipping away from you. Dealing with these thoughts can sometimes be harder than any physical illness. But remember, your mind isn't your enemy. It's your companion. You just have to learn how to talk to it. Meditate. Write things down. Not necessarily a diary, just whatever's on your mind. Put it on paper. Talk to a therapist. Or even just say to a close friend, honestly, I'm feeling a bit down today. That alone will help. Because staying silent doesn't mean you're strong. Real strength isn't about denying the storm. It's about shaking its hand. A person only starts to get their life together when they accept the mess in their mind. And getting it together means you're ready to start again. Someone with strong mental health is more resilient to the chaos of the outside world, because no storm outside is ever as powerful as the balance inside. Remember, sometimes the quietest people have the deepest strength, and at your age, you probably understand that silent strength better than anyone. One day you'll wake up and think, today I feel a little lighter. That's the moment you've made peace with your mind. And that peace isn't a sign of being old. It's a sign of true maturity. As you get older, you start to think more about your legacy. Zahlen, Mietzahlen, not Zahlen, how many houses did I leave behind, how many cars, how much is left in the bank accounts. Zahlen. Zahlen? But stop and think for a moment. Is that really your true legacy? A grandchild's admiration for you. A young person whose path you lit years ago still remembering your name. A stranger saying, that man once told me something that changed my life. That's real legacy. Because in the end, people don't remember how much you earned, but how you lived. Not how strong you looked, but how gentle your heart was. And even now, you still have the power to change your legacy. You can still look into a child's eyes and give them hope. Memediswild Supriherai. You can still brighten the day of a spouse, a friend, even a stranger. Every act of kindness you leave in this world is an invisible mark, one that never fades. We all play many roles in life: father, husband, friend, worker, big brother. But in the final act, the only role that matters is this: living with an understanding of who you want to be. What other people think just isn't as important anymore. Because now, your own inner voice is clearer than all the noise of the outside world. So what kind of mark do you want to leave behind? This isn't a will. It's an invitation. An invitation to reach out. To yourself, to life, to the people around you. Remember, the most powerful messages are sometimes hidden in silent examples. Your grandchild will look at how you lived and maybe think, I want to live like that too. That's when your real legacy will reveal itself. And remember, the years after 60 may be quieter, sure, but the meaning hidden in that quiet is something no noise from your youth could ever match. If what we talked about in this video touched you, if you now feel that this age isn't an ending but a wise new beginning, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel, because every week we'll be here with new content to inspire you. Getting older is inevitable, but growing wiser is a choice, and you are still learning, transforming, and growing. Stay healthy, stay true to yourself, and remember, your best age is the one you're living right now.